Brought to you in part by Food Service Consultants Society International, the Americas. Visit us at fcsi.org to find the best food service consulting experts.
Welcome to Foodable Web TV and Rock My Restaurant. I'm Eric Norming, returning again with my co-host Bill Bender. Bill and I recently had the pleasure of attending the Food Service Consultants Society International Conference in Phoenix, Arizona.
Sanctuary Camelback Mountain Resort and Spa in Scottsdale features a one-of-a-kind restaurant, Elements. The executive chef is Bo McMillan.
While I was managing the last day of the conference responsibilities, you and our Rock My Restaurant team were able to visit Elements and meet the architect and interior designer that worked on the update to the Elements restaurant. Right, Bill?
That's right, Eric. Let's check it out. Hi, I'm here with Lynne Beyer of Lynne Beyer Design. Lynne, welcome to Rock My Restaurant.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
You know, Lynne, as consultants or you as a designer, we're trying to get as much data about the user or the customer perspective. And this time, you actually were the client profile of the guest.
We were, and we became members of this spa membership resort about 11 years ago. So we had about 5 years of just being guests here at the resort and eating here all the time. And so we had the opportunity to just see it from that perspective. And then they decided to hire us as a team, my husband and I,
right,
to do all of the work that we have done here. So we came in as the customers,
as the heavy
basically.
user.
Right, exactly. So we had a really good perspective on what needed to be done, and they relied heavily on that.
I noticed on this brand, when it really started impacting me, is I made a right turn into the parking lot. I saw the Elements sign, I was drawn up to the entry, and got out of my car, walked down, and I could see from the landscaping to the interior how blended that was and how smooth it was from a transition. So could you talk a little bit about your choices for surfaces, colors, interiors that you did on your remodels and projects?
Yeah, it's a seamless environment. I mean, first of all, you can't beat the landscaping.
Right.
And then the resort itself is very zen. So I kept that in mind. I wanted to be very, very original and authentic in all colors. And to be truthful, the color is the food and the people. So I just kept it very simple, very classic, very timeless, and it flatters everybody.
Right. There's a number of different surfaces in this restaurant. From, you have tile floors, carpeted floors. Mm-hmm. If you look at these chairs here, I noticed the beauty of these chairs right now.
Right.
So these have been, you just had these reupholstered, I think.
We did. You know, the original chairs that were purchased 11 years ago were still great design, still classic. So I said, well, there's no reason to replace them. Let's just refurbish a little bit, refinish a little bit, and put on new fabric. And that's what we did.
So it's not always about, let's get a whole new chair. You took it from a sustainability approach.
Absolutely.
And said, we can still use this chair, the function and form is still good, we just have to update a little bit.
Exactly, that's exactly what I did. We did need to do a little bit of different changes on the heights of the booths. The booths were a little too low, and people could look right down over into these people who were having dinner. So I raised the height and gave them a little more intimacy over there. And then this fun community table that runs down the center is really interesting, and people love sitting there. And it's, you walk in and you see that immediately, and people love to be seen, some people.
Yes, definitely.
And some people want their privacy. So this restaurant and this whole, facility really meets whatever need you have. If you want to come here and dine, have drinks, whatever you want to do.
A lot of our viewers of Rock My Restaurant, Lynne, are at the starting point for maybe a new freestanding restaurant, or maybe they've got a new concept. They've worked some other places in their life, and now they're saying, I'm going to start my own restaurant. What kind of recommendations would you have for the first start of a project for somebody that's starting their first restaurant, maybe?
Well, first of all, you want to hire me, and then you definitely want to hire my husband as well.
Right.
And we can help you with the architecture and the interior design.
Okay.
But I think truly, I know the restaurant business is tricky. I know it's tricky, and you want to do it right the first time. And I think it's really important to hire good consultants, people who know what they're doing, people who have experience, people who know what the newest and latest and greatest is, people who aren't afraid to take risks, but also temper that risk with knowledge and experience. And I think that, it's a really exciting time in the restaurant business. The scary thing is, just like in my interior design world and the residential world, people think they can do it themselves. And with, a lot of things are telling everybody you can do it yourself. And the truth of the matter is, when you're taking risks this big and you're doing something this important and serving so many people, you really need good consultants.
You need to get it right.
You have to get it right. And you don't want to get it right the third time. You want to get it right the first time.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much for joining us on Rock My Restaurant.
My
and we
really
think you've done a wonderful job on this property.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
Richard, welcome to Rock My Restaurant.
Thank you, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
We're at the beautiful Elements Restaurant, and we're in a special room right here, table 12. Richard, could you go through for our viewers of Rock My Restaurant a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced inside this project that you worked on?
Certainly. The kitchen in particular was the major challenge. We had a 50-year-old kitchen that really hadn't been touched.
50 years old?
50 years.
That's a lot of years on a kitchen.
That's right. The only work that had been done on the kitchen was by the termites, and plus about 2 fires once we opened it up and we saw some fire damage.
I would call that challenge 1.
It was pretty amazing. And we had to propel that into the 21st century to be a laboratory that would support the capabilities and talent of Bo McMillan and his staff. Right. So that was challenge number 1. Challenge number 2 was we had to increase the amount of throughput by 2.5 to 3 times what the original kitchen could do in the same footprint. So no more room, but we want 2.5 to 3 times as much food service to come out of there.
You're going to have a lot more things happening here, and you can't have any more space.
That's right. So efficiency, effectiveness, and attention to a strategy of throughput was very, very important in the design.
All right.
And the third challenge was it had to have some wow. Because this is a stage set for Bo to put on these amazing culinary experiences for 12 people, a dinner that lasts sometimes 4.5 or 5 hours.
Let's stop a second. I just have to shake your hand first because this is a gallery. This is a beautiful customer experience, Richard. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Well, as you can see, from the chef's table all the way back to the service line, detail was very important. And again, because we had to change the entire kitchen. It used to run north-south, and we made everything go east-west with 2 entries, one for coming, one for going, rather than the single entry that it used to have. So we were able to really increase the efficiency and the throughput of the restaurant dramatically.
I see.
At the same time, paying great attention to the skill of that staff and Bo's talent.
And this is showcasing the culinary skills of this team here in this restaurant right now.
It certainly is. And I'll tell you, people just love it because they come in here and the room's very intimate, very sedate, very pristine.
Right.
And all of a sudden, they're given some champagne and the curtains open and Bo's behind there, usually with a mound of seafood, with all the ingredients he's going to prepare that night, and he invites them into their kitchen. And he tells them what's going to happen. And we wanted people, if you were sitting at the head of the table, to be able to talk in a normal voice like we're talking now, and hear each other throughout dinner.
Sure.
So what we did was there are no parallel walls in the room.
Right.
So that helps cut down on flutter. And then the ceiling is tiered and the edges are curved, and that traps the sound. And so those design techniques allow this room to have very great sound qualities.
It does.
And gives that wonderful intimacy and friendliness that you want to have at a dinner party. And Lynne did a fabulous job again on fabrics. Every piece of chinaware, every knife and fork, all of the glassware was chosen, all the materials we worked closely together on, and she had some great artisans join us to do some of the faux finishes. It was just wonderful.
On back of house, so often we're in an environment that isn't really team member friendly. And I noticed one of the big things here as I look into the kitchen again, there's some skylights with natural light coming down. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, one of the great things about living in the desert is there's this sort of relationship between the indoor and outdoor, a seamless connection always. I mean, great views, wonderful weather the majority of the year. So you want to make that connection. And in a kitchen, the staff, one of the things they said to us was, we like the kitchen, but it's always so dark. So we said, well, we know how to take care of that. So we poked a couple holes in the ceiling. Actually, with the termites, made that really easy. And poked a couple holes in the ceilings, put the skylights in there, and they even light up at night. So,
do they really?
So it's great fun. We studied the throughput very carefully in the kitchen. And the light intensity makes a real difference to how effectively people are able to pick up food, prepare food, etc. So the light levels are a little high for a typical kitchen. And Bo and his staff have really found that makes their work much better.
Now, when we talk to our viewers, Eric and I, they talk about where you start in a restaurant. You have some feelings about where you start if you're going to be designing or building your own restaurant, I think.
No question about it. If you're going to design a restaurant, you start with the kitchen, okay? And you start with the chef, because ultimately that's the engine that drives everything. So you want to make sure that you understand how the chef works. Next is the menu,
Right.
okay, because that tells you about all kinds of equipment and storage and turnover, et cetera.
Right.
And then finally the staff themselves. And you need to have buy-in from the staff. We put a bakery in, so all the
A bakery.
breads, a bakery.
My heart is happy when I hear the word bakery or patisserie, where I get these things that I love, right, Rick?
We do. We have it marble clad, the whole thing. I mean, it looks like it came right out of an Italian town, you know.
I saw it with the
And
chef earlier. It's absolutely
just
beautiful.
fabulous. And so everything's fresh made every day. So
Right.
it's fantastic.
Great. Well, that is wonderful. And look, we thank you very much, Richard Loope, for being on Rock My Restaurant.
Thank you, Bill. My pleasure. Enjoy.
Lynne and Richard did a sensational job, and a salute to the Elements team and managers for making us feel so welcome.
Table 12 is really a showstopper in elegance. Elements will be scheduled next time Carrie and I visit Scottsdale. Thank you for watching Rock My Restaurant on Foodable Web TV. Please keep tweeting and commenting. We'd love to hear from you.